Oh, it tastes. That aftertaste is terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
I've gotten really into nutritional yeast lately, guys.
No, oh no.
So,
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Eli Haney, and this is Hot Ones and You. It's the show where we rip off a show with questions and sauces, both being hot.
we'll see.
And for those who don't know, today we are joined by Dr. Richard Snyder, alumnus and now assistant professor and chairman of communication studies here at Northwest. He is a recent graduate of Washington State University, getting his PhD in English Literature and Language and Letters. He is currently an associate director of the Electronic Literature Lab, ELL, and a metadata specialist for the Next. He is an artist, educator, communicator, gamer, author, scholar, writer, and maker. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for being our very first guest.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome. When you contacted me, I was like, well, this is an absolute dream come true. So
We're very excited.
Yeah.
All right, before we get in, I want to ask you a little bit about how you do around spice.
So I like spicy food. I have a brother-in-law, shout out to my brother-in-law, Adrian, who puts me through, I would say, ordeals, spice ordeals, when I come to visit him in Portland. So we have a long-standing relationship of him saying, try this, and me trying it. And so I've had some hot stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're ready.
That might be too much. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know if I'm ready. We'll see.
And with that, shall we begin with the first sauce?
Yeah, I want to see what we're starting with.
All right, so we're starting here with the buffalo, Hot Ones buffalo. And how this is working, we're just gonna dab it up. So, take as
Okay.
much as you want.
Yeah.
I would
Just
say,
choose a chip.
Yeah, choose a chip.
Okay. I'll choose a friendly-looking chip for the first sauce.
And don't be shy with the sauces.
I like buffalo. I like buffalo wings.
I'm a big buffalo enjoyer as well.
Do you know the sentence that's all buffalo? Have you heard of this?
No.
You can make a sentence out of just saying buffalo 7 times and it's grammatically correct. I think it's 7 times.
Have you seen the guy riding a buffalo video? on
I don't
YouTube?
think so.
Okay, well,
I'll have to
awesome.
look it up. Just Google guy riding buffalo.
All right, cheers.
Oh, that's so vinegary.
Oh, yeah,
That's
good.
really good.
We're beginning our journey right here.
What if I quit?
Right now. That would be.
That's it. I
that'd
can't
be
do it.
sad. That would be not good. But you began your journey somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to talk a little bit about that in Puyallup,
Mm-hmm.
very known for the Washington State Fair.
Yep.
Do you have any memories there? Some do's or do nots? Anything?
Oh, at the fair?
Yes.
I haven't been in a while, so some things might have changed. My parents still live in Puyallup, so we do go visit sometimes. One thing I can't recommend is living in Puyallup during the fair. It's tough to get around. But at the fair, I don't know, you have to do the scones. You must do the Fisher scones with the raspberry jam. I dream about them. You can even buy the little box of mix and make them at home, which I've done a lot.
Okay.
So, yes, I really just go to the fair to have scones, and the smell of those scones is like the smell of my childhood.
So you rides guy at all or no?
No,
No.
I hate rides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost slipped out of a ride once at Wild Waves, and this was before, I guess, they changed some safety stuff and shut that ride down.
Yeah.
And it terrified me, and I hate going on rides. I hate being strapped down and roller coasters and all of that.
It's so loud and clunky and.
It's just
I get
it's
that.
just too much. Normal living is terrifying enough, I don't need to be thrown around like that.
That
so,
makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Let's get on to now we got Funky's hot sauce, Stellar Fuzz.
What's the flavor profile?
It's a garlic habanero sauce.
Oh my
With a
goodness.
hint of ginger.
That sounds so good. With ginger? Okay.
It comes out a little fast.
Sounds almost like curry, okay. Let me try this one. Oh. All right.
All right, and you can go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah, ready.
3, 2,
Cheers.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I love this one.
All right, so moving on to question 2.
It is a little warm.
Yeah, a little hot, feeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
According to various sources,
Mm-hmm.
here at NU and other places, during your time here as a student at NU,
Okay.
you used to take notes in Elvish. Is this true,
How did you find this out?
or is this just a rumor based on your font? And correct me if I'm saying this wrong. Anglicana Formata?
Anglicana Formata, yeah.
Okay.
So, no, it's absolutely true. I actually learned Anglicana hand or script in grad school because I was wanting to take my notes in an interesting way. But no, yeah, I used to take my notes in Sindarin.
Sindarin. Okay, that was
Yeah.
going to be my next question.
Yeah.
is-
So I look back at old notebooks and it's just pages of Sindarin. And I had a calligraphy pen I bought at Michael's and was like, all right, let's go. Let's do this.
And so can you still, like...
Absolutely not.
No?
I can't read
No?
them. Nope, they're of no use to me now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but at the time, I don't know. I just wanted a little more fantasy in my life, you know?
That's so cool. I love that.
I don't know if it was cool. It was something I did.
No, it's
I enjoyed it.
It's absolutely cool, and I don't want to hear anything else.
All right.
All right. Cheers.
Why is it sweet?
Verde. Hot ones. All right. So this one's a big one. I got a lot to lay out. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
So it's
Baby.
apparent to me, or at least seemingly apparent,
Uh-huh.
that the names of your children
Uh-huh.
hold a level of significance, probably to you and your wife.
Yeah.
I have a question about one specifically.
Okay.
Caspian.
Mhm.
Caspian is a name that I hold dear and true. It's actually a name that was given to me at a camp that I went to growing up.
Really?
It's this whole process, like you go through counselor training, and then by the end of the week, everyone votes on a name for you, and there's like different names, and then
Mhm.
they ended up, and you have no say. You have to be quiet the whole time, mouth taped shut. And they voted on Caspian, and I was very proud and honored to like take that name, and then that's the name that all the kids call you,
Oh, wow.
and all your counselors call you.
That's
It's really cool. So Caspian is a very close name to me.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about your guys' decision on that, and like what sort of characteristics
Mm.
from Caspian, inspired the name for you.
Yeah, he's our third child, son, and yeah, he's 1 right now as
Wow.
we record this. Just turned 1. So my wife and I both loved the Narnia books growing up. They were hugely influential for me in terms of faith. They were a way for me to really kind of understand the true, the good, the beautiful as a child. And I read them and read them and read them and read them. And Caspian was a great character, not only because he sort of comes to faith in a way in the second book, or sort of, I don't know, redeems himself and redeems Narnia. But then in the third book, setting out, he actually kind of experiences sort of a bunch of different trials in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And he was a character I just always identified with a lot. Like, he wasn't perfect, he hadn't always been a perfect, leader or a perfect person, but he always seemed to be trying his absolute best. And he's just a person of great integrity and character. And when I suggested it, my wife said, yeah, absolutely. So
I love that.
yeah, we had a whole list of names, and once Caspian came up, we just deleted it. So
delete the list.
yeah,
That's the one.
yeah, it was
All
great.
right, good. All right, moving on to the next sauce. Queso sin queso. Cheese, no cheese.
Cheese, no cheese.
I
I
don't
think that
see
was a nickname for me at some point.
cheese, no cheese.
I wish it was.
That'd be a pretty good nickname.
Yeah.
Would it be in Spanish or just?
I doubt it. I'm curious to see if this has nutritional yeast, because that has like a cheesy flavor. It does.
It does?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
look at that.
I've gotten really into nutritional yeast lately, guys. Like,
Is that your thing now?
I don't know. It's pretty good. I like to make sauces with it because it makes some kind of rich, cheesy. All right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it's so good.
It amazes me how they can get that cheese flavor without cheese.
That is so good.
So, okay, Dungeons and Dragons has been a controversial topic within the Christian community for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I would say maybe less
I wouldn't know
now,
anything
so-
about it. Yeah.
No, you don't know anything about it. But can you give us maybe some insights into the beauty of the game and how it can actually be super helpful for many people and potentially people within the Christian community?
Yeah, I started playing when I was a student here. And what drew me to it was we were actually not playing Dungeons and Dragons. We were playing Pathfinder, which was made by some people who left D&D and are right down the road in Bellevue, Paizo. And they're just wonderful folks, great storytellers. And I got involved with some other drama folks here, some other English majors. And we love stories, right? That's why we're English majors, or a big part of it. We love storytelling, we love words. So getting together with those folks and getting to weave a story together, I'll never forget the first time I heard about it. Because I'd heard Dungeons and Dragons, I grew up in the church, I just stayed away from anything that, smacked of that. I was a good boy. And I heard a couple friends talking about it, and they said they were talking about a moment when one of them picked the other one up and threw him across a cliff. They were escaping something. And I was listening to the conversation. I went over and I said, what is this, a video game? And they said, no, this happened in our campaign. And I was like, it sounds like you're talking about something that really happened. And they're like, well, it kind of did. And I'll never forget that moment. I was like, I want that. I want to go on adventures with my friends that feel real and that we can tell stories about, like we can have those memories. And I think if you play anything like that, that's how it feels, especially if you're playing really narratively complex storylines. So I think I understand the concerns around it. Or I understand why there were concerns. People didn't really know what was up with this. They thought maybe this could be dangerous in some way. But for me, just speaking personally, it's just been a lovely exercise in collaborative storytelling. It's kind of like writing together. Yeah. And that's why I love it.
So do you come at it usually from a DM perspective or a player perspective usually?
I'm almost always the game master,
Yeah. Okay.
So, I'm almost always, I still love Pathfinder. I've played D&D 5th edition, Pathfinder, Genesis, a handful of other systems, but I love Pathfinder. And I'm usually the game master, almost always. Right now I run 3 concurrent games that intersect with each other.
They're all,
and many friends across the world, we play together. And my wife plays in all of them, so she gets to see all the connections.
She knows all the connections.
Yeah.
When you're going into creating a character, what's kind of that process for you? Does it start with like a curiosity of a class, or maybe more narrative driven, or?
It's always narrative driven for me. Yeah. I love to think of people as real people. Kind of what makes them tick. I love Shakespeare, so I love the interiority of a person, and I love to think when I'm creating a character, I really want this person to feel real, and I want them to have concerns and feelings and thoughts. So I love just trying to make characters other people wouldn't make. So my favorite when I do get to play a character, right now I'm playing in a game where I actually get to play a character, and I'm a 50-year-old woman who's lost her 2 sons and her husband, and she's a refugee, and she's like a seeker of justice and carries a sword and shield and is kind of almost like a knight of justice.
It's like a paladin class, or?
Yeah, it's champion in Pathfinder.
Okay, Pathfinder.
But she's kind of with all these young men in the rest of the party, and so she's kind of become the mom of the group and has and is kind of like takes care of them, and but also like she's at the front, taking all of the hits, and it's just fun to kind of see how those things play out and making choices maybe other people wouldn't. Yeah. So I'm like, let's just try this. Yeah. So this one is Bourbon Maple Reaper. Oh, Reaper, okay.
All right, cheers.
It's doing that thing where it's like, oh, I'm totally fine, and you don't get hit by the heat yet.
And it just starts
It's
creeping.
gonna start, yeah.
Okay, so for this next little section, I'm gonna show you a photo.
Oh no.
As like I don't think you'll be too worried about this
Oh,
one,
no.
actually.
Okay.
But if you want to give the viewers a little bit of context
I'll try.
onto what's going on in the photo,
Okay.
and, we'll show the viewers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, here we go.
Okay, so if they're seeing this photo, this is me at Improv on, at this point it would be last Thursday.
Yeah.
So I was at NU Improv. I was invited by these wonderful, wonderful, talented, incredibly talented students to come be a part of Improv. And I believe in that sketch, I am a toddler who is, oh my goodness, it's hard to remember anymore because you're up on stage. I believe I was a toddler singing a song or about to sing a song about picking my nose.
Yes, and diving into the world of improv, and we were just talking a little bit about Pathfinder D&D and like these role playing and kind of acting a little bit. But for improv specifically, what role do you think humor has in like the greater cultural context and like what its importance could be for maybe us right now as we are sitting in a society with maybe that's being attacked a little bit in certain aspects? And
Sure, yeah. I think humor is incredibly important for people to communicate with one another. It's a way to connect with each other that is low stakes, right? So it's a way to make connections with each other in conversation. It's a way to bridge, sorry, it's getting hot.
No, it's starting to hit a little bit.
It's a way to bridge potential conflict. There's so many different rhetorical, meaning persuasive uses of humor that are still being studied. But one of my favorites is it's just a way to make people feel comfortable. And if you can feel comfortable, if you can laugh together, you can see something of the other person. You can really see them, and then you can also feel like you've had an experience together, and you can feel like you can feel heard in that moment.
Yeah.
So I like to use humor in teaching because I really have to. I can't teach without being a goofball, even when I'm being serious, which I don't know if it always works, but I don't sit there and think, how am I going to employ humor here? But I think it's good not to squash it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also think Christians need to be funny.
I agree.
My 2 cents.
I think that there's a certain level of like humor. Like it's often said that humor, like to be funny, is like a very intelligent thing, and I think at like a very fundamental way that's true. But I think there's also like this other level where it doesn't have to be so intellectual. It can just be kind of like fun,
It's a
and more
common
just, like,
human experience to laugh, right? Why not experience that together and see that the other person is human? Imagine, can you be mad at someone when you're laughing with them? No, right?
It's very difficult.
Yeah. I guess you can. Maybe I have before, but it's difficult.
You're right. It's a fine line to run.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh. It doesn't taste good, right?
No.
Oh, it tastes. That aftertaste is terrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
Da Bomb Evolution. Red Hot Chilies have evolved. Oh, okay.
They certainly have. A little coughing going on. That's good.
It's just not a good experience.
There it is. All right, It's hitting. Well, while it's hitting,
Yeah. Okay.
we're gonna
where you want me.
We're gonna hit something that is a big topic right now. How do you tackle the question of artificial intelligence from a Christian worldview?
You saved this for the bomb.
And what are the dangers we should be thinking of? And then also, what are some of the upsides of such a powerful tool?
Okay. So the thing about artificial intelligence is it's not artificial intelligence. It's machine learning. Oh man, this one's getting me.
Yep.
All right.
Have you gone for water yet?
Not yet.
All right.
I think it's peaking.
You're holding strong.
It's not artificial intelligence, it's machine learning, but it is brilliant and fascinating. I think one of the most important things about being a scholar is knowing when you don't know something. And I don't know. I don't know what the Christian response should be perfectly. I do know that God's still in charge. Nothing about our hope has changed. I know there's two sides. People that want to say, let's use this for the kingdom of God. There's people that say it's detracting from the kingdom of God. I think like any technology, it's a tool. But I like to remind people that the root of technology is the word techne, which really is a sort of system of knowing that leads you to a greater truth. And
beautiful.
The good,
Yeah.
right? The good of society, the good for us as humans. So I think we have to run everything through that. What's good for us? What's good for us as thinkers? What's good for us as people of God? And so as AI evolves, right? Generative machine learning, generative text evolves, because it is changing every day. I think we have to keep in mind, what is the ultimate goal? If we're not asking ourselves that question, then we're just going to adopt whatever's new and shiny, right? We're not going to make conscious choices about what's good for us. And ultimately, what we're here for, which is to have community with God, other people, and lead them to Christ, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I know that you've been using AI a little bit in some of the things that you do. Can you give us some insights on some of those things?
Yeah, so I guess in a way, so I've done generative text work. So one of my published poems is a digital poem where I wrote an algorithm that replaces certain words in the poem depending on what mode of the poem you're in. So in a way, that's generative text, right? But it's not quite the same as ChatGPT. I preset a list of words that it draws from. So ultimately, it's still sort of me writing. In class, I teach a class called Technology and Culture. Great class. Take it. We have a lot of fun. In fact, I don't really need to advertise it because it's always full. I had like 36 last time I taught it. So
that's wonderful.
In that class, I asked students to use ChatGPT and reflect on it, right? So they use it for 3 different purposes. They reflect on how it alters the process of what they're trying to do. And I try not to steer them toward any conclusions, except what I already said about let's imagine human flourishing and see how this gets us there or doesn't get us there. And so they come to their own interesting conclusions for different uses. And and then I'm working with the faculty to understand, how does this affect student work? What is this? How does this change teaching?
Yeah, no, I think that's all wonderful stuff, and I'm glad that we have somebody like you who is working in that direction and thinking about these things and asking these questions of students, and I think that's good stuff.
Carolina Reaper, first thing listed.
Hey,
all right.
you know,
that's all you got to know.
When it's the number one ingredient.
Cheers. Right out of the gate, what is that gasoline taste? Is that the Reaper?
I don't know, but I can't say I'm a fan.
Woo! Okay,
right.
Yeah. What's the next question?
All right. As an artist, expressing yourself in various ways like watercolor, writing, digital art, you name it, something that I've noticed in a lot of your work is something that maybe you're coming back to a lot. And you kind of mentioned it earlier already in this interview. Trees. What is kind of the importance of trees, and like why is that something that maybe you come back to a lot?
Wow, that's a great question. Wow, I'm surprised you noticed that. I'm not sure I noticed that half the time. Trees are, they're a common thing for artists to focus on, I think, because their structure is beautiful in itself, right? They draw the eye up. We have so many metaphors in our culture, in the Bible, right, about trees. But ultimately, I think I like drawing them because I don't plan what the tree looks like when I draw a tree. So I think I'm drawn to doing them because I like to get started with the trunk. I always draw the trunk of the tree first, or paint the trunk of the tree, and I like to just see where things take me.
And isn't that so maybe symbolic of kind of how it is being a Christian? It's like you don't always know, where God's taking you or what it's looking like, but you hopefully are being drawn up towards something, and slowly the fruit and the leaves will come of that.
Yeah, well said.
I like that.
I like thinking that I know that I definitely have no idea where things are going, a year from now. I'd like to think I know, but we know
Right.
I don't know, right? Anything could happen. And so I do like to think of, you know how trees, I passed this one tree on 108th, down from, I like to go walk my daughter to get a cookie at Metro Market every Saturday.
Shout out the Matt cookies. Those are delicious.
Yeah, we split one in 4 ways.
Right.
It's pretty rich.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Yeah.
It's like $4 for a cookie. But, so we take a little walk down there, and last weekend I noticed one of those Japanese cedars that's tilted toward the sun. Like it's tilted all of its leaves toward the sun, and I just stopped and looked at it for a minute, and I want to hope that's me. I'm tilting myself toward Christ.
Yes.
Right? So I don't know where I'm going, but I'm reaching out so wherever Christ is leading, right? Like I want to have my leaves pointed that direction and then trust him for the rest. Right?
That is beautiful. That is and wonderfully well said. I love that a lot. And with the family, I mean, it's just I love it. Okay. All right. We're on to the last dab
experience.
All right, we're good. We're good to go. I'm gonna mix it up here.
Yeah, look at this.
Grab
you
some.
See this color? It's like.
Yeah, this is the real deal right here.
All right.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not sure if that was a good idea.
What are you getting hit with the most right now? Or
I think just
too hard to tell.
Maybe the Reaper or the Pepper X. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When it hits the throat, that's when it gets you.
Yeah.
I've learned.
Yeah. It's starting to build.
Okay. So, right here, end of a journey.
Yeah.
A wonderful journey.
So far, so good.
Looking back, this may be a symbolic. We just went through all the sauces, and right now I want you to maybe take a look back at your time at NU.
Okay.
And all the moments.
Sorry, it just hit my stomach.
No, and you're good. And all the moments of NU, and maybe, who could pick one, but maybe just could you highlight for us one moment at NU that you would like to talk about that has maybe been your favorite-ish memory? It's hard to pick one, but like, one that you can lure the audience into an experience of yours that maybe is wonderful.
Well, I would love to sit here and tell you a story about the moment that God spoke to me at NU or something of that nature, but I might go a different direction.
Take it. I mean, we've gone multiple directions already, so maybe fit in.
If I can get...
No, oh no.
So, this is a moment that lives in a bit of infamy from the time I was here. I was on stage. An English professor, had written a play. Julia Young had written Shakespeare Brewed and Skewed. Dr. McQueen was actually in that play with me.
Okay.
And I was played Puck, Robin Goodfellow, Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Excuse me. I'm gonna see, hold on. I don't want the water. Okay. Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Also, I'm competitive a little bit. If you're not getting that, not competitive with you. I'm competitive with myself. So I don't know if I want to take that.
I'm all about competition.
Okay. Anyway, so I was Puck on stage, and every night I would mess with the audience. So it was my job to sort of go out in the audience and mess with people. Because Puck is sort of a fairy miscreant, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody who messes with other people, and so I'm out there in the audience. It's the closing night of the play, and I've been messing with the audience. Well, there'd been a neighborhood cat with a collar that had been wandering into Millard Hall for several nights.
Sure.
I find him backstage, and I'm getting ready to go out, and I give Puck's final monologue. If you know Midsummer Night's Dream, you've heard Puck's final monologue, where he says, this is kind of a farewell. If we shadows have offended, think that this is, and all is mended, that we but shadows have... Wait. If we shadows have offended, think that this and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear.
There it is, wow.
And this week in Idle Theme, no more yielding than a dream. So, I come out to give that talk, that speech at the end that closes the play, and I'm carrying the cat. This just random cat. And I just don't acknowledge it. I'm just petting the cat. and I just give the whole speech with the cat, lays perfectly in my arms, just gently, perfectly, and then I just kind of bow and leave the stage. And people talked about it for months.
For months.
It was so fun, and I had such a good time. But honestly, that whole play was so special because in high school, I didn't necessarily find my people. And when I came to Northwest, I found my people. And we put on several plays together. I met my wife doing the plays here. And I found my people, English majors, drama majors, and it was just all wrapped up in that moment of like, this is where I belong,
Right.
Holding a cat, giving a Shakespearean speech to an audience, none of it planned. And I don't know, I like to think that's how I live my life.
Well, I love it. It's chaos and it's order and it's a little bit of everything and it's beautiful, as we've seen. I think that's so fitting of your time and maybe NU in general, of like finding your people and finding a community that looks up.
Yeah,
As
and I
we've
found it
seen.
again back here as a professor. It's the same experience. My colleagues in English and Creatio and my other friends in Phi Hall are they're consistently always pushing me to look up, and it's just a boon to my life every single day.
We are so blessed here at NU to have such a wonderful,
Yeah.
professors and students alike, and faculty and staff
Yeah.
and all the people from the
True.
top to the bottom,
Yeah.
whatever that, or maybe left to right, who knows what kind of
Yeah.
spectrum we fall under, but
I keep walking around just saying I have the best job every day.
it is. Hey, and we love that, and we're so glad that you're here. Well, Dr. Richard Snyder, thank you so much for being here on our first episode
Thank
of Hot
you.
Ones.
Yeah.
The last thing for you to do is just roll out the red carpet, as Sean Evans would say. That camera, this camera. Tell the people what you got going on, any writing, creation, whatever you might have going on. Let the people know. Here's your chance.
Well, I just had a poem, another digital poem, self-deleting poem about the loss of species accepted to, and conservation and our Christian responsibility to the animal kingdom, accepted to Hyperrise Journal, which is a journal of media art, and that will be out later this year. I'm excited about that. And I have a book contract with Rutledge University, with Rutledge Press, which is an academic publisher, and it's about engagements in electronic literature. So it's introducing people to this field of literature made with the digital computer.
I love it.
Working on that this summer, next summer. So look for it in 2026.
All right, it's coming
a
in.
lot of work, but it'll be good. So
All right, well, Dr. Richard Snyder, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here.
this was so fun. Thank you so much.
Woo!